Hi creatives, and welcome back to Agency Academy. Here we talk about how to build a business that really works for you so you have more freedom to create and do the things that you really enjoy. So today we're going to do a slightly different format. You might have noticed from the title that this is a Design with Me. And I thought of this because I've been watching a lot of Design with Me videos from other creators on YouTube because I'm currently working on my own portfolio site. There's been a lot of sort of thinking and process and strategy behind it, and so I'm kind of finalizing and putting it all together today. So I wanted to show that process because I think a lot of us struggle, especially with our own sites. So I hope that you find it helpful, and we're just going to jump straight in. So we got our tea, the baby's asleep, we're ready to get started. And before I start actually designing the website, I thought it would be helpful to have a look at the goals and give like some background information about what we're trying to do with the portfolio. So my business we're focusing mainly on branding so far. We're working with sustainable businesses because my background is in ecology and my partner's is in design. And so we've really had these sort of long-term 2 to 3 month branding projects. And we work with social enterprises, charities, and small companies that want to have a really positive impact, which is super fun. I'm really enjoying all of the type of projects that we have. But since we had a baby, we noticed that these really long, like 2 to 3 month projects with very strict sort of meeting schedules, it becomes a bit more challenging. So we want to expand and take on more projects that are a bit sort of shorter timelines and maybe do more like print, illustration, and templates and stuff like that. So that's why partly why we're redesigning the portfolio. The other reason is that we're actually redesigning the whole site. So there's also a fair amount of like restyling that's going on. But I wanted to show you kind of the things that I wanted to accomplish with the website redesign. Maybe the first thing to know is that we're working in Webflow, which I absolutely love. Webflow is so easy for someone like me who doesn't code. But loves to design. So what I'm doing is I'm currently in Adobe Xd, and so here are some of my wireframes that we're going to have a look at. And why I'm doing that is because in Webflow it's really kind of a building tool, not so much a prototyping tool. So I'm wanting to have a really clear idea of what I'm doing before I'm heading into Webflow. So in this first part, I thought we would be actually designing the site, and then the second one we can go more into development. On the portfolio page itself, we're gonna do a couple things. So we want to show work examples. It's fairly standard, but I want to show also the range of services that we offer. So making sure we show illustration, we show print, we show packaging, we show branding. And then I also want to encourage those visitors to click and see the case studies, because one of the strongest things with I think our business and how we're positioning ourselves is we have a really thorough process, and we're really focused on impact. So not just like really nice pictures, but also how it actually helps their business. And I've been thinking about the user journey a little. And I think there's a couple ways that people end up on the portfolio site and how they're going to be using it. So some people might go through the homepage, end up sort of going to the portfolio or the service page. These two are probably interchangeable. And then eventually go to contact when they've seen how it works and they've seen the work itself. I think some people are going to arrive straight at the portfolio page purely because of SEO reasons. And then they're going to visit different case studies, and hopefully they'll get in touch after that. So that's sort of the user flow that we're thinking about. So I wanted to show you the overall kind of design language. And so here is the home page that we're currently working with. So I'll just expand it so we can see. For some reason, if anyone has any idea why this happens, you'll see when I actually expand it, some of these items, they don't show in the preview, but if you know, leave me a comment because I'd love to find out why. Basically, the idea is we have the logo, sort of tagline, then burger menu, the hamburger menu, and then we have this frame that's going to be basically sticky on the page. So it comes with, and it's going to be layered on top of everything. So the idea is to have each of these different areas sort of contained in the frame. And if you want to do that yourself, that's actually really easy. All you have to do is click on the item, and then there's a little area here called Fix Position when scrolling, which is really helpful. So you can do that for things like if you want to have a sticky navigation, for example. And so you'll see a little bit of the overall style here. What we have is a little bit of a guide. So I like to make this when I'm designing anything in Xd, which is basically kind of like a little style guide. So I've put the brand colors, the different sort of H1, H2, different tags, just so I know what I'm doing, and so it becomes really consistent. Otherwise you just end up with so much different font sizes and stuff, and it also becomes much easier because you can create classes for these when you're actually in Xd. Sorry, when you're in Webflow, which is really good. And so we got what the buttons look like and so forth. And I've also got a couple different examples of work that I've pulled in, just so I have some stuff that we can use for thumbnails when we're starting to build the portfolio. So I thought maybe the first thing I want to do is to share the different sort of approaches that I've had when I was working on the portfolio, because as you might see, here are some of them, and there is quite a few. So the first thing we're thinking about doing is basically to have the different things that we're offering as kind of like categories or filters that people can click on. So when you land on this portion here, you would be seeing the different categories. We could do like an interaction where, let's say, they get underlined when you hover over them. But I was a little bit afraid that people weren't going to notice that these were actually buttons. So I thought maybe people will just come here, they'll see this, and they'll be like, okay, I don't really see much work, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, and they'll leave. So even though I have all the work down here, I was a little bit unsure if that would be a good idea. So the next approach that I took was, scroll down a little bit, to have more sort of big featured projects and do case studies where all of the projects are really a big highlight and they take up lots of space. And I like the idea of it because you can have like 2 thumbnails, you can have like the type of work that it is, you can have the goal and what sort of the impact of the project was. But then I wasn't sure how to do it for the projects that we have a lot of work for, but that isn't case studies. So things like, maybe we have lots of examples of like different print projects that were not really warranting a whole case study, but I still want to put the work because we're trying to expand like the type of work that we're getting. So we kept exploring a little bit, and this is another one where I was trying to resolve that issue of people not really understanding that there is work to have a look at. So instead of having this sort of hero image at the top, I flipped it so you can already get into the work, already in sort of the landing frame here above the fold. But again, I wasn't quite sure if these categories were going to be annoying to put into Webflow, because basically we would have to use the CMS system to create all these different projects, and it would have to filter, which isn't super complicated. Webflow is really good at using the CMS setup. But then I wasn't quite sure how to do it with the different sizes. So like here, obviously some of them are really big and some of them are really small. And I thought, well, how does that actually work if you have categories? And so what I did after that is I thought, okay, well, maybe we have more of an overview. And so you'll see how many different explorations we're trying. But I think this is what is useful when you're designing anything, because you need to kind of get, all the bad ideas away. You have to try it. You have to see, how are people thinking? Like someone who is landing on this page, does it make sense? And is it helping them make take the actions and the steps that I want them to take? So then we had a sort of idea of starting to list the services, and then people would scroll into the design. But I felt like it was difficult to represent all the different things that we're doing, because yeah, we do branding and logo design, but the strategy is sort of tied in with that, and it felt a little awkward. So I decided that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the portfolio site, the portfolio portion, super simple. And basically what we're gonna do is this. We're going to keep this grid, which I am liking the grid. I'll show you another setup that that I had. Just for reference, we did have another setup. Let's have a look at all of the million portfolio views. So we had two other ones, which were one where basically you land on the page like this, and you have either explore case studies or view work by work type. So again, this was like a filtering situation, or you could go to big case studies, but then it felt like there was a lot of different steps going on. And I felt like the thumbnails were a little bit small, or maybe it felt a little bit too similar to what we already had. And then the last one, I promise, the last one was basically to do these different big case study, what do you call it? A carousel, there you go. So we would basically have one frame for each type of category. So that means that I can link these buttons to a certain section. So if I build it in Webflow, I would make one section for branding, one section for packaging. And as you click on these buttons, it just sort of jumps to section, which is good. And then you could have a way for people to scroll through the different projects. And I do still like this one, but I'm still concerned people aren't quite gonna know to interact with these buttons. But I might come back to this one at a later point. But I think that the one we're gonna stick with is we're going to make the portfolio page super simple. And we're actually just going to have like this. So let's see, I want to unselect that and just move it up a tiny bit, just so that we have, okay, actually I like that. Okay, so we'll just make a little bit more space here. Okay, can make this a little bigger perhaps. Okay, so I think we're gonna start with the portfolio one, and we're just gonna have a look at replacing these sort of like placeholders and see how we can make it into the stuff that I want to actually be showing. When you hover, the idea is that you'll get like the project name, the description of the impact or the goal of the project. So rather than saying like, okay, the title of this project was the client's name, for example, I want people to be able to connect with what the project was. And so we might do something like, let's say, empowering young people with a new meeting place or something like that, you know, in a way that people can understand, okay, this is the type of project it was. And I might actually, thinking of it, make this the category, like branding, rather than the project name. So I think we're going to change that. Let's make that category. So I think what we want to do is, most of our work is branding, so I think we're going to keep a branding project up here. So let's have a look through stuff we've done, some examples. See, I like this one because it is both packaging and branding, and it would work nicely on this one here. So I might actually move that over here, give that a try. See how that will look. See. Have I done it in the wrong way? Okay, this one, for some reason, one of the only pictures I haven't added in. I'll show you how to do that. So if you have just like a shape, say we add it like this, and then we go to our, and grab one of my projects, I can just drag it in, and then I'll be able to change the dimensions of this. That's what I've done for everything else. For some reason, this one file. Okay, it's okay, we'll keep it like that. So then we have, I think this is good because the eye-catching bit of the actual packaging is still above the fold. So I'm kind of happy with that. And then we want to do something which is maybe like logo design or maybe print. Let's have a think. So I'm thinking we want to have something that is looking good next to it, but still has a very different vibe. Maybe this one would be good as print design. Let's have a look, see how that works. See, now it's working. Good. I'm noticing some strange frames behind it. Assuming I sort of mocked it up first. Let's have a look. So let's bring the frame to the front. Okay, I think that could be pretty nice. And then maybe got a little bit of illustration in there, but it's very, very simple. Maybe we do, maybe this one. It's more like digital design, but it's also branding. Might look quite nice next to the one here. Probably gonna be moving these around a ton, but it's good to just get somewhere to start with, I feel like, so we have like a reference point. Okay, and then here's one of our illustration pieces, so maybe that can stay. Just for me to know what to actually put here when I'm designing it, I'm just gonna move this down here, and I know that's what it's gonna look like, but I don't want to block this because I want to know what that thumbnail is gonna look like. So we got a bit more moody and a bit more colorful here. Maybe we want to bring in something like, say, the remote project maybe here. So which one is best? So I guess this one feels a bit more real life, which I like. I do like this because it really shows the icon, but I think it might be a little hard to fit into it. Maybe we just give it a try. Let's have a look. Let's move some of these over and see what looks good. Okay. So I think maybe we'll put this for that one. So if we try to put it here, let's see what happens. I feel like this 2 and 2 and 2 is a little strange. I'm gonna see either if this looks better. Oops, don't need to move the guides. Maybe this will look better here in this format. Let's see. Let's do it like that. Or if this one looks better here. See, I'm not loving. Oh, maybe that's okay. I do like that we have some print going on. I'm wondering if this one, as nice and colorful as parts of it is, to bring these in a little to fit the here. Oh, I see. No, I don't. Okay. So let's see what we are doing. Okay. Do we like this one or do we like that one? I feel like this is like 90% of making your portfolio, like trying to pick your work. See what looks good together with it. So I think I want to bring this one in because I do like this one, but I feel like this one has much more action in it. You know, it feels a bit more real, like we're out in the world doing things. So maybe if we pair this here, if we move this one and we put this one in here, maybe that will kind of like match the vibe of the illustration, so it doesn't take over, but it still is. Might have to change this a little bit. So let's see, what do we think about the placement? Maybe it's kind of nice that it's getting cut off on both sides. Could move it like this. Is that better? Maybe. Only question is this too busy now? I think maybe I want to change these two. So if we move this up here, oh, I like that because that's now a logo design fairly far up. That's kind of nice. So it's aligning. I want to align this. Tell that I need to move everything just a little bit because it's all a little bit too much to the right. You can see my guides here. So I think if we put this here, that might be really nice. Let's see. Okay. Go. Ooh, so little, so annoying. Okay. Got it in the end. I'm quite liking this. Let's see. So we got some package design, some print design, some digital design, some branding, logo design, visual identity, some illustration. Ooh, I think we might... See, this is the issue. I sometimes want to bring in, let's say this one. I think I want to show it for illustration's sake, but then we already have this one, which is the same case study. So it would have to be something that I haven't already shown. So I'm gonna get rid of these because we've already shown something from that project here. So what do we want to show for these last two ones? Because this one belongs with this one, so we can't do that one. So let's have a look. Maybe we do this branding and print project. So that might be a good one for here because it's a little bit calmer compared to it. I think I might actually end up making a slightly nicer mock-up for this one because it was very long since I made this one. And I've seen some really good magazine mock-ups, so I might actually do that. Okay, I think it's starting to come together. I feel like we want something a bit lighter here. Like if we look up here, we have these two are quite bright, and then we have this sort of middle brightness, and then it's really dark down. I mean, this one's pretty light, but this one's pretty dark. So I feel like we need something quite positive here. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is we only have really one illustration, and even though they would both be next to each other, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this one. This is actually a project where it's a lovely client. We've been working with them for so long that even though we never did their branding, we basically did their branding. You know, it's just one of those really great relationships where you've been working for so long, and we've done print design and we've done illustration and we have done digital design. Oops, that's what happens if you don't hold down the scale. Let's have a look. So make it a little bigger. I think those clients are just so lovely, you know, like you build a real relationship and you basically become their in-house designer. But I think that we can do this as a full case study even though we haven't done it in the past. So even though the thumbnail is illustration, it is actually branding and infographics and all kinds of stuff. So I think that is kind of a good start. Now let's move this so it actually fits the frame, because this is bothering me a little bit, I have to say. Yeah, see, look at that, look at the guides. Okay, I also have to get rid of this. I don't know why I still have like a weird frame underneath. I guess I used it as a guide at some point. Okay, great. So let's get started to the portfolio page. I think what I'm gonna do now is, once people have been on the portfolio, I want them to, if they haven't already clicked on one of the case studies, to go into it and have a look more further. I think what I want them to do is to understand all of the different services that we offer. I'm just gonna put this over here. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a heading. So we're just gonna grab a section that looks similar to the rest of our website. So I think we might like this one. Okay, and then we're just gonna see there. Okay, and I'm gonna replace this with a list. So, and we're gonna make this something like help, and we're gonna have something about tailoring it to their specific needs. I'm just leaving the copy kind of be for now. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this list item and we're gonna do it here. So I think I might just give an overview here, and then on the service page itself, I think I'm gonna be giving a lot more detail. So I'm thinking we're gonna do something like, oh, are these okay, right? Because I copied them to a different board, so they're grouped. Let's see. So we're gonna do branding, And I think that, you know, even though I know that branding entails like logo design and all these different things, I think it's always a good idea to make sure that, you know, you don't assume that people know that. So we're going to do logo design as a separate service. We're going to do package design. We're gonna do 2 rows on this because it does look like, sorry, 2 columns. Lots of rows, 2 columns. Okay, so let's see. What do we think? Should we put it over here? That looks good, right? Okay, so I'm gonna do illustration. I'm thinking maybe I need to do strategy. Maybe business strategy, but that's a little vague, you know, it's more like brand strategy, marketing strategy. So I think we're gonna do brand strategy. And we're gonna do package design. Gonna do illustration, print design, templates, and assets. Hopefully that's not too vague, we'll go more into it. And here's a question of how deep to go into this. Should I put, let's say, infographics, or is that too specific? Should that come under illustration? I think I'm going to put information design. So that is more descriptive. Okay, that looks nice. So we're going to put a button, so I'm going to grab this one. And we're going to see something, let's say something like, I think I want to put like explore all of our services, but it might be a bit long for a button, so I'll just keep it like that for now. And then I think we're gonna do a little bit about us and then a little bit about like how to get in touch. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab this section here, which is just like an intro about us as a team, because I think it's so important to, you know, showcase who you are and who people will actually be working with. Maybe we want to put a testimonial in here somewhere. Maybe we put that underneath here. So we grab a testimonial block. I quite like to like reuse visual elements and work that I've done for other parts of the website because it makes it feel a bit more consistent. Obviously I changed up the actual testimonials and things, but I think it does help quite a lot, and also saves you a bunch of time, which is good. Lastly, I think we're going to put the contact form. Now, because this is a sort of generic, like we don't know exactly what their project is going to be, like it might be branding, it might be infographic design. I want to be able to filter a little bit, but have kind of a generic form. If I would put it on, let's say, like the page specifically for branding, for example, I might make it much more specific to the branding. And I know that the theory is to have like as few fields as possible, but I feel like I really want to qualify people a little bit. So I want to find out if they're like a startup, if they've been around for a while, if it's a legacy brand. Also, I like to have a drop down for a budget, and the reason I like to have that is because we can have a minimum starting point, which means, you know, we have like a minimum starting point where if we go below that, there really isn't any profit left for us in terms of how many meetings we need to have and back and forth, even if it's a small project, and a timeline. So I think that that's good. We're gonna go with that. And we have quite a good balance, I think. Like this doesn't have so many photos, but then we have this here. We've got some work examples. Okay, I think we're happy with that. I'm gonna put the footer. Move that up a little. Okay. That looks good. Hey, we designed the portfolio page. Good job. So now we're gonna move over to the service pages, and I think what I'm gonna do actually, so I'm gonna borrow something that I did like from this, which is I did like this layout. So So I think what we're gonna do to make the service page super simple but really effective, I'm thinking we're gonna remove this one, where we're gonna basically have the different services are gonna have their own little area, and we're gonna make this so that I can have way more in-depth information about the types of things that we offer. So I think I'm gonna do this. There we go. And we're gonna have, so remember each of these pages, each of the service pages, actually I don't know if I mentioned this before, but each of the service pages have their own page. So like branding has its own page. We're talking about what goes into a brand, cohesion, talking about why someone should hire us for branding, testimonials, the process. And so this is something where I think it's important to have a lot of information about how it actually works, partly because of SEO and partly because it gives your clients a lot of confidence that you know what you're doing and it's going to be easy to work with you. So for the service page, I'm going to grab this. We're not going to have these, and we're just going to copy that so that we get the same navigation. I'm going to have this as services, but I think I'm going to do here more like what we've done for the other pages. So I'm going to do something like this. There we go. Put that back, and we're going to grab this little one. So this is my little scroll button. Okay, great. So put that here like so. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Great. So now for each of the services, I want to have kind of a big like hero area. So I'm gonna make this, let's see, branding. And then I'd like to have something where I'm able to show the different types of things that we offer in branding. And so I do have that kind of on the page itself, and like brand research, customer profiles and stuff. So I think I'm just gonna nick this. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put this here. I think I might also want to add, because I think this might also be good for SEO to like really showcase all of the different things that we're doing. Go. I think I'm gonna grab the brand boosters as well, which just means things that you don't have to have, but things that we also offer. Okay, we're gonna have a little title. So maybe we do this one. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do is, does that look good? Yes, okay, looks good, I like it. So let's do here, we're gonna do in every project, so title, and then we'll do the title here. Okay, might call this brand boosters or something, but I think we're gonna do that first. Question is, do we want to add some sort of description here? So I think we might want to have, maybe we're gonna have, let's see, like a small little intro. Question is, does it look insane? Maybe we need to make it a smaller size. So look. Although I do quite like the hierarchy. I think we're gonna stick with this, but as you can see, this is not the right height. So I wanted to fill up this, and actually I'm gonna make it so that when you scroll, it basically locks into position. So we're gonna make this a little taller. I'm just gonna borrow this. See, this is why I had all those frames in the back before, because I was using it as a reference for the height. Let's see. Okay, So here we have the different services, and then people can see more. Okay, so I think this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna probably do a nice alternating layout. So I think we're gonna do, you know, like this for the next service. Do like a package design, put a different thumbnail. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna build this out like this, and I think that's gonna be pretty good. So to sort of summarize what we're gonna have here is the logic is people are gonna land on the portfolio. Now place this with a bigger title. There we go. Line that up with the image. Cool. So we're gonna have a nice title. People are gonna scroll through the work. They're gonna see the different services. If they click on the different services, they'll be able to get much more information about what those are. And then if they select one, let's say branding, they're gonna be getting into the actual branding page where we have like examples of work and testimonials and process and stuff. So I think this is what I'm gonna go with. Baby's awake. Aww. Hi. Hi. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap up there for today. No one needs to see me type for 2 hours as I'm finishing off all of the details, and the baby's awake. So we're gonna stop for today, and then I was thinking we could make it into kind of like a mini series where next episode I will be building out the actual case study. So like if you click on one of the projects on the portfolio page, I'll showcase how I'll actually build out that case study to show the impact that we had and the different projects, processes, and the strategy. And then in the episode or two after that, we'll actually jump into Webflow and build it. I think that might be really helpful, and I would love to hear if you have any questions. So like in anticipation of this, leave comments and I'll try to answer them as I'm designing. Let me know what you think of this format. I quite enjoy like just talking as I'm designing, but I'm still getting used to the format. So please give me pointers or let me know what you think. If you found the video helpful, make sure to like the video if you want to, and you can also subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we publish new videos. We publish every Wednesday. Something about process, branding, and design so that you can build a business that you really enjoy working in. Thank you so much for watching. Super good luck with your portfolio pages, with your case studies, and with any projects that you're working on. See you next time.